Have you ever looked at an elderly couple sitting quietly on a park bench and wondered what keeps them together after 20, 30, or even 50 years? In a world where relationships often seem fragile and temporary, some couples somehow manage to stay deeply connected for decades. What's their secret? Is it luck, compatibility, endless romance? Or is there something happening deep inside the human mind that science is only beginning to understand? The truth is, long-lasting relationships are not built on constant passion. In fact, one of the biggest myths about love is that successful couples stay together because they never stop feeling butterflies. Psychology tells a very different story. The couples who last aren't the ones who never struggle. They're the ones who understand something most people don't. When two people first fall in love, their brains are flooded with powerful chemicals. Dopamine creates excitement. Oxytocin builds attachment. Serotonin influences mood and obsession. This stage can feel magical. Everything about the other person seems fascinating. Their flaws appear charming. Their presence feels addictive. Scientists sometimes compare this phase to a natural high. But here's the surprising part. This intense romantic phase isn't designed to last forever. Over time, the brain adapts. The excitement becomes familiar. The novelty fades. For many couples, this is where problems begin. They mistake the end of infatuation for the end of love. They think something is wrong because they no longer feel the same rush they felt at the beginning. The couples who stay together for decades understand a crucial psychological truth. Love doesn't disappear. It evolves. Researchers often distinguish between passionate love and companionate love. Passionate love is driven by excitement and desire. Companionate love is built on trust, safety, commitment, and emotional intimacy. While passionate love tends to decrease over time, companionate love often grows stronger. Think about it this way. A firework explodes brightly but lasts only a moment. A lighthouse shines steadily through every storm. Long-term couples stop chasing fireworks and start building lighthouses. Another fascinating psychological phenomenon is something called identity fusion. After years together, couples begin to see themselves not just as individuals, but as part of a shared identity. They develop inside jokes, shared memories, routines, traditions, and experiences that become woven into who they are. If you've ever heard an older couple finish each other's sentences, you've witnessed this process in action. Their brains have spent years adapting to each other's habits, emotions, and communication styles. In many ways, they've become psychological teammates. This doesn't mean they agree on everything. In fact, one of the strongest predictors of long-term relationship success isn't how little couples fight. It's how they fight. Psychologist John Gottman spent decades studying relationships and discovered something remarkable. Happy couples don't avoid conflict. They manage it differently. Instead of viewing disagreements as battles to win, they see them as problems to solve together. When conflict becomes you versus me, relationships suffer. When conflict becomes us versus the problem, relationships grow stronger. This shift in perspective changes everything. Another secret of couples who stay together for decades is emotional safety. Emotional safety means knowing you can be vulnerable without fear of rejection, ridicule, or punishment. It means feeling accepted even when you're imperfect. Psychologists often compare emotional safety to a psychological home. Everyone needs a place where they can remove their armor and simply be themselves. Long-lasting couples create this environment for each other. Interestingly, studies show that people often underestimate the power of small, positive interactions. Grand romantic gestures are memorable, but daily kindness has a far greater impact on relationship longevity. A warm smile, a supportive text message, asking how someone's day went, and genuinely listening to the answer. These moments seem insignificant individually, but over decades, they create an emotional bank account filled with trust and goodwill. Long-term couples also understand the importance of friendship. Many people think romance and friendship are separate things, but psychology suggests that friendship may actually be the foundation of lasting romantic love. The happiest couples often describe their spouse not only as a partner, but as their best friend. Why does this matter? Best friend. Why does this matter? Because attraction can fluctuate. Circumstances can change. Life can become stressful. But friendship creates resilience. It gives couples something stable to rely on when life becomes difficult. And life will become difficult. Every long-term relationship faces challenges: financial problems, health issues, family conflicts, career setbacks, personal losses. The question isn't whether difficulties will appear. The question is how couples respond when they do. Psychologists have found that couples who survive hardships often develop a stronger sense of shared meaning. They begin viewing challenges as chapters in a story they're writing together rather than obstacles pulling them apart. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" they ask, "How do we get through this together?" That single word, "we," is incredibly powerful. Research shows that couples who frequently use words like we, us, and our tend to report greater relationship satisfaction than couples who primarily focus on I, me. Language shapes perception. Perception shapes behavior, and behavior shapes relationships. There's another psychological factor that rarely gets discussed: acceptance. Many people enter relationships hoping their partner will eventually change. They imagine future versions of the person standing in front of them. But couples who last for decades eventually learn an important lesson: no one is perfect. The strongest relationships aren't built on finding a flawless person. They're built on accepting an imperfect person while continuing to grow together. Acceptance doesn't mean tolerating harmful behavior. It means recognizing that every human being comes with strengths, weaknesses, quirks, and limitations. Ironically, people often become more willing to improve when they feel accepted, rather than constantly criticized. One of the most beautiful discoveries in relationship psychology is that familiarity can create comfort rather than boredom. Modern culture often glorifies novelty, new experiences, new opportunities, new relationships, but the human brain also craves predictability and stability. Knowing someone deeply can create a unique sense of security. Long-term couples often develop a silent understanding that requires few words. They know each other's fears, dreams, habits, and emotional triggers. This level of understanding isn't built in weeks or months. It's built through years of shared experiences. And perhaps that's the greatest secret of all. The couples who stay together for decades aren't maintaining the same relationship they started with. They're constantly creating a new one. The relationship they had after 1 year is different from the relationship they had after 10 years. The relationship they had after 10 years is different from the relationship they had after 20. They evolve together. They adapt. They forgive. They learn. They grow. And most importantly, they keep choosing each other. Because despite what movies often suggest, lasting love isn't something that simply happens to people. It's something people build. One conversation at a time. One act of kindness at a time. One challenge overcome at a time. One ordinary day at a time. So the next time you see a couple who has spent decades together, remember that you're not looking at a relationship that survived because it was perfect. You're looking at a relationship that survived because two imperfect people continued to choose connection over distance, understanding over judgment, and commitment over convenience. And perhaps that's the real psychology behind couples who stay together for decades. Not that they found the perfect person, but that they learned how to love a real person, year after year, decade after decade, through every season of life.